Good morning, everybody. We're out here. This is part 2 of my series on the nail weights and the Neko rig. We got it all rigged up. We got our nail right here. We got our weedless wacky hook, and we've got our worm we're going to be using out here today. It's post-front conditions. It was raining last night. It's not going to be raining anymore, so the fishing should be tough. So we're going to be putting this Neko rig to the test. So follow along. Let me teach you how to fish this thing. Hopefully we can get a few bites, show you that this thing actually does work. I know it does work. I've caught fish out here on it before. So stay tuned, follow along, and I hope you enjoy this video and learn something new.
So here's a good look at what we're using today. This is a Neko fat Daiwa Yamamoto worm. I got my weedless wacky hook, and I've got my nail weight that I made myself. This should do the trick, but with this post-front conditions, it might make things a little bit tough. But hopefully we can cast this thing around, catch a few fish, and show you guys how to do this yourself so you can go out and catch some fish. So as you can see, I'm out here today fishing with a casting rod right now. And what this is a Shimano Core reel, Powell Max 3D 723 extra fast action. I got Seagar InvisX 12-pound fluorocarbon. Sometimes I'll go down to 10-pound on this setup with the Neko rig, but today we got 12. So a couple casts in, I'm pretty happy with my nail weight. It's a 3/16 ounce nail weight, and it didn't cast off. It didn't do anything like that. So I'm pretty impressed with it so far. So hopefully it holds up pretty well after cast, and you know, I'll have a new little creation that I can keep making myself and maybe selling to you guys if you're interested. Oh, I got bit. I'm bit. There's one. That did not take long. That did not take long. The Neko rig does the trick. Oh, and it's a decent one. Decent fish too. Oh yeah, this is a good fish. Not a bad fish at all. Let's get you in the boat. Choked it. Choked it. Not a bad fish for the first one of the day. Neko rig did the trick. Obviously it catches fish, guys. You're gonna have to throw it yourself. So when you're fishing this Neko rig, you don't need to give it a ton of action. Just let it, cast it out, let it sink all the way down to the bottom. Just let it sit there for a minute, and then you're just gonna wanna pull up and feel that pressure, because sometimes they'll eat this thing on the fall, which is how that first fish was. I just lifted up after I let it sink. The fish was already on there. I felt the tug, set the hook, caught that fish. So that's something that'll happen a lot of the Neko rig, because it just has a unique fall. So that fish will swim over, grab it while it's falling. But you can also catch fish while you're dragging it back to you, whether you're on the boat or on the shore. And you don't need to give it a lot of action, just slight pulls, little shakes. You don't want to overwork the bait. There's different times where you can really jerk this thing up off the bottom and let it sink back down and get more of a reaction bite. But more often than not, you're just going to be dragging this thing back to you, giving it light, gentle shakes, nothing too much. But like I said, you can fish it different ways, so you want to play around with it and see what works best for each individual day. But I've had the most success fishing this slow, just gentle, slow shakes and dragging it back.
So I want to show you guys how to rig this up yourself. And one thing that you're going to want to get is this wacky rig tool. Basically, you can thread this little O-ring onto this tool just like this. What you're going to do is you're going to take this O-ring and you're going to slide it down to the larger part of the tool. You're going to take your plastic worm, whatever one you're going to choose, and you're just going to throw it, put it inside. You're going to slide this O-ring off of it, just like that. Then we're going to take our nail weight. I'm going to get a 3/16 ounce nail weight. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this pointed part of the nail weight. It doesn't really matter whether it's one just like the ones I made or your traditional ones, but you're going to take this flat part and you're going to take the nail, put it right down the center of this worm, and you're going to want to thread this thing down, straight down the worm until the flat part goes flush with the top of that weight. So it looks basically just like that. And then what I'm gonna do is, since this one has that keeper on it, I'm just gonna push down right on top of that keeper so the plastic gets down on to the keeper. It's actually poking out just a little bit, which is great because that's gonna hold this bait, or hold this nail weight inside this bait a little bit better than other ones. So now that we got it all rigged up and ready to go, we're just gonna take our hook and we're just gonna barely hook the plastic underneath that O-ring, just like that. And what that O-ring does is it's gonna help you use less baits. So a lot of times on the Neko rig or wacky rigging in general, you end up going through a lot of baits because you basically lose that bait pretty much every time you catch a fish. But using that O-ring like that, you're gonna use less plastics. You're gonna be able to get multiple fish off of one plastic. So it's a great way to save baits and save a little bit of money. So get that tool, use those O-rings. It's gonna help you out. You're gonna be able to save some money and use less baits.
All right, so what we have here is an 1/8 ounce nail weight that I made. I've got my Daiwa Yamamoto Neko straight worm. I've got a #1 owner wacky rig hook that I made weedless. I've got 6-pound test fluorocarbon line. I switched over to a spinning setup. This is the Powell Endurance 732 extra fast medium light action, and a Shimano NESCI reel. I switched up, the bite got a little bit tougher, caught one fish on the casting rod pretty quick, but then after that I got one bite, missed it, and it's been a little bit tough. So I got post frontal conditions today as well, so I switched over to the finesse stuff. So hopefully we can get another couple bites, and we're gonna fish this pretty much the same as we fished the casting setup, you know, just a little bit lighter action, a little slower fall, lighter line, all that kind of stuff to hopefully get some more bite. Oh, there's one. There's one. Got one. Got one.
Far from a giant, but you guys can see that the Neko rig works. It's a great technique. It took me a while actually to get some of these bites today, but I think that now you have a pretty good idea of how to fish the Neko rig, that it does catch fish. And on that last one, I really had to start downsizing my weights. I stopped using the ones that I was making myself and put as light as a one that I had in my box. It was probably like 2 30-seconds, 3 30-seconds, something like that. Real small one. And I just needed that real slow fall in order to get bit. In the morning I got bit on the fall, and then later on this morning I got bit on the fall in this last fish as well. So I hope this video was good. I hope you enjoyed checking out making the Neko rigs in the first video and then fishing a Neko rig in this video. It's definitely a good technique. It's definitely something I think you guys need to take some time to learn, but at the end of the day, you know, it's a good finesse technique. You can fish it on spinning rods like I did just now, and you can fish it on casting rods as well, but it's definitely a good technique. Make sure to check out the links in the description of this video, because that's going to be where all the tackle is going to be and stuff like that I was using out here today. So thanks for checking in this video. I hope you learned a lot, and make sure to subscribe so you can see some new videos, and stay tuned for more.